Hello lovely people, I'm Trish and welcome to Thrive with Trish. Today we're going to be talking about doom scrolling. We're going to look at what is doom scrolling, how do we actually get caught up in doom scrolling, and how to stop it. Let's first look at what exactly is doom scrolling. It's actually a fixation of reading negative news online. This can actually be a kind of addiction that impacts our mental health negatively. Why do we get caught up in doom scrolling? According to a research scientist named Mesfin Bakalu, he says that while a lot of the news online can be bad, we as humans have a natural tendency to pay more attention to negative news. Crazy, isn't it? You know, thinking back when I was about 15 years old, I finally decided, okay, let me read some newspapers, maybe to gain some new knowledge and know more about the world. And after a few days later, I noticed that there was so much of bad news in the newspaper. And I asked my mom back then, Mom, is it me or is it that 99% of the news in the newspaper is just negative? And she looked at me, she smiled and she said, yeah, that's how it is. If you think about it, if you had a newspaper or magazine that was always talking about only good news, positive news, I highly doubt that it will sell a lot of copies. So I guess the researcher is right. If you think about TV shows, dramas, movies, what kind of shows actually do very well? All of them will probably have an element of suspense, some backstabbing, some evilness inside, negative parts, and that kind of spices up the whole storyline, and that is what catches our attention. If the whole story was just, oh yeah, everything's great, everything's dandy, everything's good, I don't think people will actually pay attention and really watch the complete movie. Anyway, coming back to the point about me reading newspapers, since I hit this realization of a lot of the news inside being negative, I don't read newspapers so religiously, only once in a while. Now, I'm not advocating that you should completely stop reading any news about the world just because it's negative. No, that's not the point. You can read it, but there are certain ways or strategies that you can put into place so that you don't get sucked into a dark hole of doom scrolling, just continuously for hours and hours reading about negative news and thinking that the end is near. And I have a confession to make. I had an episode of bad doom scrolling when this whole coronavirus happened. It was around late March, early April. I was reading about coronavirus every single day, catching up with how many deaths there were every single day. I was like, gosh, this is the end of the world for everyone and I'm just gonna die soon. We're all gonna die! I was depressed, y'all, in this moment. Really, it's not a nice feeling to have. Here are the ways that really helped me to snap out of this doom scrolling habit, and I do hope that you'll find them helpful. So here they are. Tip number 1. Set a timer. So let's say you want to read the newspaper or you want to go onto social media. Why don't you set a timer before you start? Set maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whichever that it is. So once the time is up and you hear the alarm, be disciplined enough to stop. Put it this way, the news won't run away. Even if you can't finish it today, you can read it tomorrow. And furthermore, let's just be realistic here. Whatever news that is there, you can't change it. It's already there. So reading it, making yourself feel worse, will not change anything. Tip number 2, go onto social media or read news every 2 days or every other day. This way, your brain gets to get a break from reading negative news and you will have time to do other things that actually makes you happy. Tip number 3, choose the accounts you follow wisely. So let's say that you're on Instagram or you're on YouTube or on Twitter. It doesn't really matter whichever social media platform you are on. Make sure that the accounts that you follow, at least the bulk of the accounts, are either educational, inspiring, or post content about positivity. We humans are really the sum of our habits. And so if you want to have a good day, you want to feel good, you want to feel inspired, then you have to surround yourself with this kind of positive energy. If you go into social media and you follow a ton of accounts which constantly posts about
death, about slaughtering, about how bad the world is, about how there is so much corruption.
I mean, there is never a lack of negative news to read online or on social media. Forget about COVID-19 or about negative news in the world. Let's talk about self-image. I realize for myself, I have this tendency that sometimes when I see another businesswoman who is more successful and they seem like they have it all figured out, I think to myself, wow, okay, I wish one day I will be in that level, and I wish that I can learn from them. I'm proud of them, I'm happy for them, but I also have a part of me whereby I think, I suck. I'm jealous of them, and I think that, hey, gosh, can't I do better? It's this thing where inevitably we tend to compare ourselves to other people who we think are doing better than us. That is why it is so important that before I start getting sucked into endless hours of comparing myself to these people and feeling bad about myself, I normally, like I said, using my tip number 1, I just put a timer and then I stop reading, or I will really make sure that I don't have too many of these accounts that I follow, and I end up just feeling really, suckish about myself. Tip number 4, do some self-reflection. So let's say that you are doom scrolling about COVID-19, for example, and you believe that the end is near. Take a moment to ask yourself, if that is true and your last day on earth is in the next few days or the next few weeks, how do you want to remember the last moments of your life? Doom scrolling, or do you want to do something that is actually memorable to you? For me, what really helped me to snap out of this negative habit of doom scrolling was telling myself that, okay, if really the end is near, what do I want to do? The answer for me was to read books which I've been wanting to read but never had the chance to read, as well as to travel to nearby cities and towns with my family, which I haven't discovered yet. If, let's say, you are doom scrolling and you are constantly comparing yourself to other people, then take a moment to really catch your thoughts. What are you thinking about in this moment? Are you comparing yourself about your career? Are you comparing yourself about your worth, your business, or are you comparing yourself about your looks? What is it exactly that you don't feel satisfied about? Take a moment to ask yourself, what small step can you do right now, today, to start making a positive change in your life so that you don't have to feel that sense of lack or that you're not good enough compared to this person. Take matters into your hands and start making a change. So my dear friends, I do hope that you found these tips helpful, and if you do find yourself in a habit of doom scrolling, please do try out one of these tips. And now let's end today with a quote of the day. We are the sum of our habits, so be mindful to choose them wisely. Now I'd like to hear from you. What is your trigger that causes you to doom scroll? Is it you compare yourself to others about your career, or is it about COVID-19? Let me know in the comments below. And how do you overcome it? That's also really interesting. I would really love to hear from you. So do share your thoughts with me. And now I'd like to do a thank you shout out to my top 5 supporters for this week. Monzon Media, AC Chavez 101, Bend and Stretch with Sue, Akil Nova, and Kusina Ni Zaina. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for supporting me and my channel. If you found this episode to be helpful, please do give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and family. As always, live strong and have the courage to create a life you love, because your happiness truly matters. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time on Thrive with Trish. Hey lovelies, I have a question for you. What websites do you use to get really good quality, no copyright music soundtracks for your videos? Please do share them with me in the comments below. Thank you so much and have a lovely day.